excellence. We remain committed. You're watching Lagos Television, the voice of Lagos. Good evening and welcome. On the news tonight, President Bola Tinubu cancels Federal Executive Council meeting, meets security chiefs. Opens wider engagement channels with stakeholders, including protest leaders. More northern states impose 24-hour curfew over end bad governance protest violence. And on the international scene, Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigns. Interim government takes over. We'll bring you details in a moment. Please stay with us. Thank you for joining us. I am Adetola Kayode. You're welcome. President Bola Tinubu has met behind closed doors with heads of security and paramilitary agencies. The meeting was convened under the auspices of the National Security Council. The security meeting followed shortly after that of the Federal Executive Council was abruptly called off with no definite reasons available to the press. Addressing State House correspondents after the meeting, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, says the meeting was to brief Mr. President on the situation on ground following the hijack of the ongoing protest by criminal elements. He also hinted on the need for the military to keep the nation's sovereignty intact, adding that democracy has come to stay in the country and the military is determined to keep the hard-earned democratic governance by facing off all enemies of the state.
Yeah, make sure that democracy continues to strive. We will not accept anyone pushing or taking any action, seemingly or for whatever reason, to want to push for any change of government. Democracy is what we stand for. Democracy is what we continue to defend. For those of them flying flags, if you see a lot of them are kids being pushed to do that. We're following up with those ones that are sponsoring them, those that are pushing them, because you know the flags were also made. We identified those areas and we're going to take serious action against that. The president is clear on his instructions on for us not to accept anyone that wants to disrupt the peace and tranquility of Nigeria.
General Musa further expressed the strong synergy among the nation's security agencies towards facing off all enemies of the state as their constitutional mandate stipulates.
Advantage of it to cause mayhem, and we can see clearly what has happened since it has commenced. Criminals have taken over, a lot of looting, a lot of stealing and all sorts happening. And besides that, we're also aware that I'm seeing, all of us have seen it, where some foreign flags have been flown within the sovereignty of Nigeria, and that is totally unacceptable. We are warning in clear terms, and the president has also said we should convey this, that we will not accept anybody, any individual flying any foreign flag in Nigeria. That is a treasonable offense, and it will be viewed and treated as such.
Leading the security chiefs was General Christopher Musa, Chief of Defense Staff, accompanied by the service chiefs and heads of the nation's security architecture. Vice President Kashim Shettima, Chief of Staff to the President Femi Gbajabiamila, and the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, were also in attendance. The meeting is coming on day 5 of the widespread protest across the nation, planned for 10 days, driven by concerns over hunger and poor governance. The End Bad Governance protesters in Lagos have vowed not to end the protest until their demands are met. The protesters will converge on the Gani Fawehinmi Freedom Park, Ojota, say President Bola Tinubu did not address their demands in his live broadcast to suspend the protest. Jamiu Shonubi compiles the report. Commercial and business activities have picked up in Lagos after some of the protesters called off what was supposed to be day 5 of the End Bad Governance protest. Normal activities returned with pockets of traffic jam around the state capital, Ikeja. At the state secretariat, Alausa, public servants were seen going about their designated duties till the close of work. It was also business as usual for the State Executive Council, with the chairman and the governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, presiding over the weekly Monday council meeting alongside the deputy.
It's the 5th day of the End Bad Governance protest, and protesters in Lagos have converged at Gani Fawehinmi Freedom Park at Ojota to demonstrate their grievance on the economic hardship in the country.
I don't dey here for 2 days now. Today making 2-3 days of my own protest. They get me. So I dey suffer. I dey suffer. We don't even understand.
Why do we have graduates in Nigeria and there is nothing to show for it? There is no good job opportunity in Nigeria. Why? It's a big question I want to ask. I decided to come out to tell the world with my own concept, with this empty pot that signifies hunger, and with this outlook that signifies anger.
We are hungry. 1 pint of gari, 4,000 naira. To feed 2 children is difficult. 1 derica of rice is 1,500 naira. How do we do it?
May there reduce anything. May anybody drop, transport, come down, education.
Following the live broadcast of President Bola Tinubu and addressing the End Bad Governance demonstration, the protesters expressed their displeasure on the president's speech, stating that the president did not address pressing issues in the country.
We express Mr. President to address the issue being demanded from real protesters. But Mr. President failed to do that. He ignored the demands and went round and be saying something else.
None of those speeches addressed the demands that we presented. That is why I am bothered and I am worried, and it looks like we don't matter, and that is unfair.
Government know what to do. Let them do it, because we are given 10 days. The way that I'm seeing it, if anything don't come up by 10 days, we are going to make here a place of living where we'll be living. We take over the whole room.
Despite the president calling for the suspension of the protest in favor of dialogue, the protesters say they won't back down until their demands are met.
The president has not talked to us. People is controlling him. People is telling him what to do. Is it because we are peaceful? Is it because we are not taking this too serious?
Like reviewing the fact that the people that have been in detention since EndSARS should be released. Like reviewing the fact that a lot of people have been arrested innocently because they came out to perform their fundamental human rights. Those can be reviewed and everybody will go home. It's very simple.
Every Nigerian has an unrestricted right to protest. Of course, we know that there's also the law of trespass that may prevent you from entering into another person's property and blah, blah, blah. But generally, every Nigerian has an unrestricted right to be able to protest.
The demonstration against economic hardship tagged End Bad Governance started on the 1st of August in several cities across the nation, and it is expected to end on the 10th of August.
We apologize for the initial mix-up in that report. In the meantime, Lagos residents have been enjoined to go about their business activities as normalcy returns to the country's commercial capital. Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Gbenga Omotosho, says ministries, departments and government agencies are open and have been tending to members of the public. I have details in this report. Commercial and business activities have picked up in Lagos after some of the protesters called off what was supposed to be day 5 of the End Bad Governance protest. Normal activities returned with pockets of traffic jam around the state capital, Ikeja. At the state secretariat, Alausa, public servants were seen going about their designated duties till the close of work. It was also business as usual for the State Executive Council, with the chairman and the governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, presiding over the weekly Monday council meeting alongside the deputy governor, Obafemi Hamzat, and other Rexco members. Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Gbenga Omotosho, assured that all is well in Lagos, advising people to go about their normal duties without any fear. He commended Lagosians for choosing peace over distraction and anarchy.
All is well in Lagos. It shall continue to be well. All the services we are rendering in the civil service, we will continue to render without any problem. All Lagosians to continue to open their businesses, go about their businesses without any form of fear at all, of any harassment or of any intimidation by everybody. Lagosians have chosen to be peaceful. They are choosing to shun anarchy. They are choosing to embrace good governance.
Omotosho says the phone lines activated by Mr. Governor are still open for further engagements as they are already inundated with calls from the people. The lines are 0802-522-4347, 0811-965-5788, and 0707-717-8295.
We have received thousands of calls for people who are talking, and that means that Lagosians want to talk. They want to show understanding. They want to elect dialogue as against anarchy.
He also assured Lagosians of Governor Sanwo-Olu's commitment to delivering the dividends of democracy via its Things Plus agenda. Adetola Kayode, OTV News. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has directed the Ministry of Youth and Social Development, Ministry of Information and Strategy, and Office of Civic Engagement to immediately open wider channels of engagement with various stakeholders, including the protest leaders. This is in demonstration of the Lagos State government's commitment to continue engagements with the youth and in appreciation of the protesters in Lagos for their peaceful conduct. Governor Sanwo-Olu praised the Lagosians for rejecting anarchy and embracing peace and never giving room to warmongering, scaremongering, and rumor-mongering. He also praised the professional conduct of security agencies, the police command, the Department of State Services, the military, civil defense, neighborhood watch, the traditional rulers, civil society organizations, community leaders, religious leaders, student leaders, and others who ensured Lagos remained peaceful. He enjoined Lagosians to continue their businesses without fear and contact executive council members of the ministries on the dedicated citizens access lines on 0811-9655-788, 0802-522-4347, or 0707-717-8295. And moving on, the Kaduna state government has imposed a 24-hour curfew on Kaduna and Zaria metropolitan cities with immediate effect. The decision was taken after an emergency security council meeting presided by Governor Uba Sani to review the security situation in the state. According to a statement by the Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arua, the reason for the curfew is a hijack of the ongoing protest by criminal elements who have resorted to looting shops, the destruction of private and public property in the state. The statement warned citizens to remain indoors while security forces continue to work to maintain safety and order. This is as Plateau and Katsina states have also imposed curfews following violent protests in the states. Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang had announced the imposition of a 24-hour curfew on Jos Bukuru metropolis effective from midnight Sunday, August 4, 2024. The Katsina Police Command on Monday also said curfew in Dusima local government area of the state and the 12-hour from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. and the rest of the 33 local government areas of the state is still in effect. And policemen have arrested no fewer than 30 End Bad Governance in Nigeria protesters with Russian flags in Kano and other states. Also, one of the flag producers, identified as Ahmed Bello, was arrested with a large quantity of flags in Kano. The Force Public Relations Officer, Muyiwa Adejobi, disclosed this at the Strategic Communications Interagency Policy Committee joint press briefing. He added that the police are on the trail of other suspects, especially the sponsors of such acts. Adejobi said the suspects have committed treasonable felony offense by waving a foreign country's flag in Nigeria. Meanwhile, Kano State government has disclosed its plans to set up a commission of inquiry to investigate those behind the senseless killings and looting of public buildings in the state during the Thursday nationwide End Bad Governance protests. Governor Abba Yusuf's spokesperson, Sanusi Bature, says the probe panel will ascertain the root causes of the killings and destruction. He added that Kano residents and the state government are counting huge losses, including loss of lives and property, to the supposed peaceful protests on Thursday. He noted that many were reportedly killed while others sustained gun injuries in a post-demonstration clash between hoodlums and armed security personnel in the state on Saturday. The spokesman Bature said the suspects arrested during the protest have been arraigned before various courts in the ancient city. Bature emphasized the state government's commitment to maintaining peace and order, warning that those found guilty of vandalism would be prosecuted. It disclosed the state government's plan to also provide massive training program for youth in various trades to promote self-dependency. The federal government has warned Nigerian citizens planning to travel to the United Kingdom to be wary of violence risk over the recent killings of 3 young girls at a concert. Spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Eche Abuobe, says the violence has assumed dangerous proportions as evidenced by reported attacks on law enforcement agents and damage to infrastructure. He noted that these disturbances have only been aggravated by the unfortunate deaths of the 3 girls, spawning an anti-immigration narrative with particular emphasis on Muslim immigrants or persons of color being targeted. He advised Nigerians in the UK to be extra vigilant and avoid political processions, protests, rallies, marches, crowded areas and large gatherings while being vigilant and self-aware at all times. Demonstrations by far-right and other extra-parliamentary groups in parts of the UK in recent weeks have been large and in some instances unruly. The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, has charged officers and personnel of the Nigerian Navy to redouble their efforts in tackling security threats in the Niger Delta region. Ogala, who gave the charge while addressing the newly decorated naval warrant officers at the naval headquarters in Abuja, said the South-South region is the mainstay of crude oil production in the country. Represented by his Chief of Policy and Plans, Rear Admiral Joseph Akpan, the naval boss said the nation's threshold in economic development rely majorly on crude oil, adding that all efforts must be channeled to addressing crude oil theft in the country.
If I may say, don't put it or the confidence that I've been giving to you, don't put it to shame, don't rubbish it by going to do what you have not been doing before. Because if you are in discipline, you will not get here. So now that you are here, it's better you finish up your service by doing the proper thing. So you will not be tired of tasking you, and I'm also imploring you not to be tired, because more, to whom more is given, more also will be required. So it's not a time for you to rest on your ass or go to sleep.
The Nigerian Navy High Command has found 19 personnel worthy to be elevated to the enviable rank of Navy Warrant Officers, which is the highest rank in the Nigerian Navy rating cadre. You're still watching the news on Lagos Television. Still ahead. Lagos State Government introduces smart waste bins for effective waste management. That's in a moment. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying tuned. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says newly registered voters ahead of the upcoming Edo and Ondo state governorship elections is a total of 177,914. A statement by the National Commissioner and Chairman of the Information and Voter Education Committee, Sam Olumekun, says Edo State has 119,206 new voters, while Ondo State has 58,708. The Commission stated that the figures excluded the 8,847 applications for voter transferring to Edo State and 3,132 into Ondo State from other parts of the country. INEC will release the comprehensive and final register of voters for both states in the coming days. While the Edo election is slated for September 21, that of Ondo will hold on November 16, 2024. The Renewed Hope Initiative, a pet project of Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu, has offered scholarships to 200 Nigerian students. The move, which is aimed at boosting the number of Nigerian youths having access to qualitative education, is in partnership with various national and international organizations. The 200 beneficiaries of the AUDA NEPAD African School of Economics RHI scholarships were unveiled at the banquet hall of the State House, Abuja. The First Lady reiterated that the Bola Tinubu administration will continue to prioritize education as evident in the various policies and programs it is implementing in that sector.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, has done so much in the education sector, as the minister has explicitly explained to us this afternoon. The recent zero-interest student loan scheme, bursary and scholarship awards to students, and various education infrastructure development projects are all geared towards providing unhindered access to education for every Nigerian student.
Senator Oluremi Tinubu explained that she has consistently emphasized the education and empowerment of the Nigerian girl child, who is culturally and traditionally excluded to a greater extent than her male counterpart from receiving comprehensive and formal education. This, she said, has brought about the need for the establishment of alternative high school for girls across the country. This was corroborated by the Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, who explained that the First Lady is an education champion.
Young people have consistently demonstrated their role as champions of democracy, effective governance, and catalysts for positive change. This year, being the African Union's Year of Education, it emphasizes the critical role education plays in our collective progress. It is therefore fitting that we celebrate the renewed Hope scholarships in this context.
A total of 200 students in various fields are to begin their academic career at the African School of Economics, an affiliate of Princeton University, USA, with this scholarship. The Federal Capital Territory Health Services and Environment Secretariat has disclosed that the health insurance scheme is initiating a medical palliative program, aside food palliative being given by the federal government. The Mandate Secretary, Health Services and Environment, Dr. Adedolapo Fashawe, disclosed this at the Gwarimpa General Hospital, where free treatment, medicines, nutritious rice were given to sick patients to boost their health condition, while mama kits were given to pregnant women to aid delivery.
We have started to realize that a lot of our patients are coming in sick because the money they should use to buy their medicine, they are using to buy food. Limited resources, competing demands. The health insurance scheme for the vulnerables, which is a percentage of the country's national budget, can support us in the medical palliative scheme. What we have done is a proof that this can work, it is sustainable, and it is something that has come to stay.
Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Muhammad Pate, acknowledged the importance of the initiative and also encouraged mothers to keep to exclusive breastfeeding as it enhances qualitative and healthy growth for the children.
Nutrition to children, but also allows the mother to bond with her child. That is good for the child, it's good for the mother. It builds the brains of children. It's not only fashionable to not breastfeed, but it is in fact for the health and well-being of that child. And the federal government has directed that all institutions to provide safe places for women to breastfeed their children in the workplace.
Only hospitals registered with the FCT health insurance scheme are sole beneficiaries of the initiative. And to this one, the Lagos State government has introduced smart waste bins for homes and business environments to ensure effective waste management. The smart bins will enable the Lagos State Waste Management Authority, LOMA, monitor the operations of PSP operators in the state. Bukola Taylor Cole has more.
Smart, durable, eco-friendly. These are some of the words that best describe the waste bins introduced by the Lagos State government. These waste bins will change the way waste are managed by offering several benefits that contribute to a cleaner environment.
From time to time, PSP operators might be late to pick up our waste. And with this smart bin, we're able to know if they're working, when they work, so that we can use that to monitor and assess their performance.
Once the bin has been serviced, there's a reader at the back of the truck. Once it reads it, it goes straight to our system, and then it shows that it has been verified. In that case, there are no disputes because the system is...
The smart bins redefine the waste collection process by incorporating a sensor technology and real-time data transmission.
The waste bin has added features that improve the functionality. For example, this waste bin has an RFID chip that will enable us to know when it is emptied by the PSP operator. In addition, the smart bin is geolocated to a specific residence. That means when you buy the smart bin and we deliver it to your house, we pin it to that house so that forever that bin is associated with the house. If it's stolen, we can track it.
We have a PSP operator that owns a truck. A device has been attached to the truck, which tracks the movement of the bin, because the bin has a significant RFID chip that is assigned to each property, each individual in Lagos State once you buy the bin.
Every bin, aside from having a unique RFID, it also has a unique QR code. On that QR code, when you scan that QR code, what happens is that it takes you straight to the LOMA website. From there, you can lodge complaints, you can make inquiries, you can do anything, you can contact LOMA directly. They'll pick it up in their customer service, and then they'll contact you.
The smart bins are color-coded to encourage waste separation and recycling. The green bins for general waste and the blue for recyclables. To ensure no tenement is left behind, the Lagos State government has made the bins affordable with a friendly payment plan.
It has a 15-year warranty. So it should give comfort to every resident that they're getting a modern bin that will last them for a very long time. The state government has introduced installmental payment plan where you can be paying over time, so it's very affordable.
Smart bins are at the forefront of the waste management revolution. They have emerged as the game changer. Bukola Taylor Cole, LTV News.
What a smart move on the part of the Lagos State government, and still to come in the news. Court stops sale of Nigeria Air to Ethiopian Airlines. That's in business news. Please stay with us.
On Business News tonight, Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) has issued a directive to telecommunications operators to simplify their complex tariff plans, bundles, and promotional activities. This bold step aims to ensure that subscribers receive clear, accurate, and easy to understand information about the cost of voice, SMS, and data services. By doing this, NCC is promoting transparency and fairness in the telecom industry, empowering subscribers to make informed decisions about their services. Director Public Affairs NCC, Dr. Ruben Moka, says the NCC mandates mobile network operators to publish a comprehensive table showing the features of their tariff plans and bundle offers. The table should contain all necessary information for subscribers to make informed decisions, including details on add-ons, their prices, how consumers can opt in or out, terms and conditions for renewal, and rollover policies. The guideline is the outcome of consultations with industry stakeholders, include MNOs and consumer focus groups, plus extensive data analysis on consumer preferences and expectations. Service providers are also required to display all relevant information about their tariffs, such as the name of the plan, price, validity period, price per second for on or off network and international calls, expected data speeds, and fair usage policies. The NCC emphasized that while complying with these guidelines, operators must also meet the key performance indicators standards set out in the Quality of Service regulations. The Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has declared null and void the sale of Nigeria Air Limited to Ethiopian Airlines. Justice Ambrose Louis Alagwa, in his judgment stopping the sale, ordered that the proposed establishment of a national carrier, Nigeria Air, by the federal government should not be carried out. The judge made the order while granting the relief sought by the plaintiffs, the registered trustees of the Airline Operators of Nigeria, and 5 others in the aviation industry. Justice Louis Alagua held that all the relief sought are granted except for the relief asking for 2 billion naira as damages for the injuries suffered by the plaintiffs as a result of their wrongful exclusion and the wrongful action on lawful bidding and selection processes for the Nigeria Air project. Listed as the first to 6 plaintiffs in the suit are the registered trustees of the airline operators. The 6 plaintiffs had filed the suit against the first to 4th defendant, Nigeria Air Limited, Ethiopian Airlines, Senator Hadi Sirika, that's the former Minister of Aviation and the Federal Ministry of Aviation, and the Attorney General of the Federation. In the suit, the plaintiffs had asked the court to make an order setting aside the entire bidding and selection processes for the Nigeria Air project, as well as the approval, grant or selection of Ethiopian Airlines by the former Minister, Hadi Sirika, and the then former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami. The House of Representatives has dissolved the current ad hoc joint downstream and midstream committee investigating the importation of adulterated petroleum products, the non-availability of crude oil for domestic refineries, and other energy security issues. Spokesman of the House of Reps, Akin Rotimi, says the decision was taken at the committee's inauguration penultimate Monday. He explained that the ad hoc committee had been dissolved and a new one would be constituted. Recall that the dissolved committee was initially tasked with investigating the importation of adulterated petroleum products, the non-availability of crude oil for domestic refineries, and other critical energy security issues. The committee will be succeeded by a newly constituted ad hoc committee with the same mandate. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, says Nigeria will get a bumper harvest before the end of the year. The minister explains that one of the reasons for the acute food shortage in the country at the moment is linked to seasonal reasons called the lean season, which will end before the end of the year. He also identified reduced land mass, flooding, insecurity, aging farming population, amongst other issues affecting inadequate food supply. The minister assures that the federal government has measures in place to address food inflation, which includes the introduction of mechanized farming with the distribution of fertilizers to farmers and purchase of tractors, which would increase food production. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics says food inflation has reached 40%, pushing the prices of essential commodities beyond the reach of millions of Nigerians. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, says the federal government is set to establish building materials manufacturing hubs across the 6 geopolitical zones. The proposed locations for the hubs are Shagamu in the southwest, Aba in the southeast, Warri or Asaba in the south-south, Ajaokuta in the north-central, Kano in the northwest, and Gombe in the northeast. The minister assured that the chosen locations are secure and strategically placed near existing building materials market, adding that the hubs will include facilities like power, water, and housing for workers to ensure a conducive working environment. He says the hubs will manufacture various building materials such as roofing sheets, ceilings, tiles, and doors. The minister emphasized the ministry's readiness to collaborate with investors interested in funding and managing these.
The highly anticipated Dambe Warriors League Circuit Fight 15 in Lagos saw packed crowd witness the penultimate leg of the ongoing Season 3 as fighters booked their tickets to the super fight. The Dambe Warriors Arena at Alabarago was filled to the rafters as fans from different parts of the metropolis thronged the venue to witness a thrilling spectacle of the traditional sport, which is gradually going global with participation of foreign competitors.
Seeing the crowds are busting up from the steams. 6,000-7,000 people filled up here. We are putting crowd controls never before seen. We are putting more security in place. We are having expatriate communities coming in here all the way from VI coming to watch abroad, coming to watch Dambe. Not not been afraid that anything's going to happen.
The Circuit Fight 15, which offered gladiators the chance to qualify for the super fight and avoid relegation, lived up its billing as the Warriors recorded technical knockout and point decision wins, competing in 9 bouts across 3 divisions. Showcasing the unique cultural tradition of the combat sport on the international stage, Dambe Warriors League continues to provide engagement and fun experience with great improvement by the organizers.
We have our next level of fighters that will come in Ibadan, and the next top 2 fighters that will come and fight. We are having somebody from Poland who will come and fight for the finals. We're having another fighter from Russia. People who really want to come and fight and come and take a space in this sport. Watch out for this sport in the next 2-3 years, because international fighters are coming in and they will give these local fighters a run for their money.
Continue to put in place cultural diplomacy for our fighters. You know, we bring in foreign fighters to give them that international exposure. And our fights league is always aspirational for over 6,000-7,000 Dambe fighters all over the world, all over the country. You understand? So they continue to maintain themselves in terms of trying to be crime-free, drug-free, because these are some of the rules that guide our sport. So we are trying to, you know, wash the ecosystem, make it clean, continue to make people, you know, better citizens of the society as well.
Holding fights in major cities across the country, the acceptability of the sport has been a huge motivation for the Dambe Warriors League, and the momentum has encouraged organizers to take the initiative to greater heights.
The last time we had the fight at Victoria Island, and now we're having it here. This is the homeland of Dambe in Lagos. So you can imagine the crowd that is out here, like certainly all levels of people in Lagos. I see some people who even travel all the way from Niger to come and watch this fight here. That shows you the level of following and acceptance and, you know, energy that people are putting into this sport. They follow this thing pound for pound, punch for punch.
This is a low-hanging fruit. You know, the government can come and we can have a partnership whereby we showcase the beauty of such a swell in the savannah as Dambe Warriors, you understand? And we put infrastructure in place. It's just a handshake and conversations and discussions on the next level. We need to take Dambe from this local ground to the world. The world needs to see Dambe. It is about time.
The season-ending super fight billed for the Federal Capital Territory will hold at the Velodrome of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja on September 15.
On entertainment news tonight, in light of the ongoing protest against bad governance in Nigeria, LTV Entertainment Desk have curated 5 movies that capture the plight of the common man. Over the years, the stories of bad governance, corruption, and societal ills have been told on screen, bringing to the fore the experience of both the rich and the poor. After the military rule in 1999, Nollywood began to dive into stories that explored political issues. They developed strategies that represent the operation of power in society. Employing the traditional ruling systems with king and chiefs became an allegory, a medium to address political and social issues. Here are some Nollywood movies that depict such governance. Shawarode, this legendary 1999 political drama film by Tunde Kelani, explores the issue of bad governance and a successful coup. Set in the fictional kingdom of Jogbo, Lakpite rules with a heavy hand over the townspeople after he dubiously gets the seat of power through a series of electoral malpractices. With the support of the chiefs who earned a cut from his illegal activities, he consolidated power by assassinating his opponents and detractors, detaining his critics and laundering money into foreign accounts.
Alatija, nisi ẹni tó bá ládàá kó mú, ẹni tó bá níbọn kó gbé, ẹni tó bá lóògùn kó sá láti ọ̀la lọ.
Agogo Ewo. This film is a sequel to Shawarode, produced in 2002 by Tunde Kelani. Following the death of Lakpite, the Jogbo chiefs attempt to put Oni Jogbo of their choosing on the throne to continue their corrupt practices. They picked a retired police officer named Adebosikpo, whom they thought would be in their favor. He ascends the throne but decides to move on from the corrupt ways and advocates for peace and progress in the community. Black November, deriving its title from the cold murder of Niger Delta activist Ken Saro-Wiwa on November 10, 1995. Black November captures the deplorable state of the Niger Delta community due to oil spillage and corruption by its government and an international oil corporation. Based on real-life events, Black November is directed by Jetta Amata.
This is not the way.
Fourth Republic. Fourth Republic is a 2019 Nigerian political drama written and directed by Ishaya Bako. It follows a governorship aspirant, Mabel King, in the aftermath of a violent and fraudulent election that resulted in the death of her campaign manager, Sikiru. It exploits corruption, electoral fraud, party influences, and mismanagement in the political spheres.
Expect that you will last this long.
You don't know the things I've sacrificed, how hard I've worked, the things I've done to be here. This is my tribunal.
Gang of Lagos. Gang of Lagos is the story of the life of the lower-class Lagosians living in Isaleko and the pipeline of thuggery, from ordinary street thugs to top political figures. Directed by Jade Oshiberu, Gangs of Lagos follows Obalola Akande on his journey from childhood to adulthood.
One day, your eyes will open to their power, and there will be no hiding place for the wicked.
Idris Okuneye, the Lagos socialite known as Bobrisky and self-acclaimed mummy of Lagos, who was arrested by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, in April 2024 for mutilation of the Naira, has been released. Bobrisky was arrested on April 4, 2024, and the news was confirmed by the EFCC in a statement on their Instagram page, saying that the 31-year-old was arrested after they received a report of the socialite spraying and flaunting wads of new Naira notes at the premiere of the film Beast of Two Worlds. Okweye was charged by the EFCC on 4 counts bordering on Naira abuse and pleaded guilty before Justice Awogboro of the Federal High Court in Lagos. Awogboro then sentenced Okweye to 6 months imprisonment without the option of a fine. However, his counsel, Bimbo Kushano, filed a notice of appeal, praying the Court of Appeal to set aside the maximum sentence and asking the court to replace the sentence with an option of 50,000 fine on each of the counts. And that's all on entertainment news. Back to the studio for the rest of the news.
And on the international scene, the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, has resigned on Monday after weeks of deadly anti-government demonstrations gripped the South Asian nation. Bangladesh Army Chief General Muwakkar Uzzaman announced on Monday that an interim government will assume control immediately and urged citizens to maintain their trust in the army. He added that it requests to be a little patient, given some time, and together the country will be able to solve the problems and assure them of not going back to violence. The former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigned after weeks of protest against quotas for government jobs fled into nationwide unrest. At least 280 people were killed and thousands injured as the government cracked down on the demonstrations. Hasina reportedly fled the country on Monday in a military helicopter to India, a strong ally of the former leader. And just before we go, let's take another look at our top stories. Security chiefs. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has opened wider engagement channels with stakeholders, including protest leaders. More northern states have imposed 24-hour curfew over end bad governance protest violence. And on the foreign scene, we told you that Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has resigned with an interim government taking over. And it's now time for us to check out what tomorrow's weather will look like. And for more news, please connect with Lagos Television on these social media platforms.